Kurt,
Trey.
there's an awful stench in this place today.
I didn't know what you were about to say. Yeah, I think something has maybe died in our studio or around it somewhere.
Yeah, so if you guys
Good times,
happen to see
good
a
times.
skull candle on the desk today, that's the only candle we could find.
Where did this candle come from?
I
Just
got
around.
it. I got it for Jacob as a gift for his office because his office smells like dead mice.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding, Jacob.
This is 100% recycled glass.
Well, there you go.
And it's...
I got it on clearance somewhere, like at
Ace Hardware.
Oh, was it Ace Hardware?
What's the Macbeth? Isn't there a Macbeth scene
Yes.
where he's like
Hamlet? Macbeth, right, sorry.
Is it Macbeth or I don't know. I don't know what he says.
We should know this.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. What the... I love it.
Oh, man. Let me ask you a question.
Please.
If I can get over the stench.
Let me ask you a question.
First off, I want to say what you said just a second ago, because Jacob was spraying some Febreze on the carpet in here to try to do anything to help with the scent. And you said science. You said Febreze
Science
does not change the scent of anything. It does nothing to the fibers or whatever.
Oh, I've heard this. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is an
Maybe it's
opportunity
true.
for the internet world to
Somebody should look it up.
Yeah, put it in the comments. Let us
It's
know.
one of those things. Yeah.
Does it really change the smell of stuff, or as you posited, does it deaden our
sense of smell, basically? I've heard that. I can't verify. I don't know. But I did hear that. Who knows?
Who knows?
We should look it up. Maybe AI knows.
AI.
But it only knows. What does AI know?
Ooh, it only knows. Well, I don't know. It knows the internet.
Is it sentient at this point?
No, not yet.
Oh,
can it be? There's the debate.
Yeah.
How
have you used AI up to this point?
Oh gosh, I use it quite a bit on the other podcast that I do, the Town Square podcast. I'll use it for social media posts.
Like you don't even show up to the podcast half the time.
Right.
It's AI.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's some
even graphics.
Cool
I can use it for some
helpfulness to
graphics now and things like that.
You used it, Jacob, for like graphic things, or it's pretty cool.
Yeah, content creation.
Very interesting. He's shaking his head. Yes, we can.
Taking a transcript or something.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
I do the same. That's what I use it
for. Good for like big searches and kind of condensing things.
Yeah, it's real good.
Stuff. Yeah.
Let me ask you another question.
Nice. Yeah.
Since we're off the Febreze topic and onto AI, that was quick. I mean, we are like,
we're moving. We're moving. Pop culture, man.
So let me ask you. All right. This reminds me. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever lost something valuable to you? Okay, I'll go first.
So I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Go
ahead. Go ahead. You clearly have something that you have lost.
So I have non-diagnosed OCD, right? Okay.
I think I do too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I know I have some of it.
Yeah.
And fidget spinners were created for me. I'm certain. I usually have like a stress ball.
I've seen you spin a marker and a pen. Like you do that little thing.
Yes, all the time. And
you're a spinner guy.
So here's the thing. I am, and my wife knows this, I will take my ring off 1,000 times a day, my wedding ring. I'll put it in my pocket. I can't stand washing my hands with it, so I'll take it off to wash my hands. When I eat, I take it off. I put it back on. If I'm in public, I'll put it back on. But if I'm at my desk in my office, I probably won't have it on. Anyway, the point is, I'll play with it all the time, and I'll lose it.
Like, this happens regularly.
Well, a few times.
At least.
Enough to where I have a spare in my book bag. How about that?
A spare ring.
I have it in my book bag. Yep.
That's funny.
Well, it's not. This is a very cheap ring.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's a placeholder.
I hate watches, rings. Like I hate all that stuff. Like I hate it. This is the OCD part.
Yeah, I don't like watches
either.
I don't like.
Yeah. Like I don't like any jewelry. So I wear this but you need to wear it. So.
Interesting.
But I'll take it off all the time. And when I lose it, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Now, why? Now, we had this a couple episodes ago because it's valuable. Now, it only costs like $30, $40. But to me, it's extremely valuable because it indicates something that's extremely valuable.
Yeah.
The most valuable thing on the planet for me is my relationship with my wife. So I want everybody to know that.
Yeah.
And then when I lose it, I freak out.
Yeah.
And so I go looking at and so I lost it. This is why I got the replacement. When I first lost it, I really was a madman. Like it was like, I don't know where's that. I looked everything, every pocket, all those between the seats of the
Yeah.
everywhere.
You start going to places where you're like, it couldn't possibly be here, but I'm gonna look here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, the whole point is that will cause me great angst when I lose something.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to you? Have you things that you've misplaced?
I can't think of any particular thing that I like ultimately lost. I know, I've lost things for time, like my wallet. I remember like I misplaced it at times and found it. I can't. My wife did lose her wedding ring. It's like it is still lost.
Oh,
we had to get her a new one, a different one. But it was like a total accident. She was tossing some wood off the porch that we have. Like we have firewood and we'll stack it. And I think it was like the end of the season, getting into spring. And so she was throwing some wood off the porch for whatever reason, and it like flew off her finger. She saw it happen. And because I guess it was just loose.
And the ring.
She looked for it everywhere. We got a metal detector out. And still to this day, this was, I don't know, 8 years ago or so, like a while back.
Oh my goodness.
To this day, every now and then I'll just go over there and kick leaves around, and it's just right off the porch somewhere, and we cannot find it. Metal detector and everything. Never found this thing. Literally couldn't be more than a foot from our porch.
And I'm assuming it's very valuable.
Well, yeah. Again, we got our new. And what is kind of cool about our wedding rings is, see if you can look in there. That's Tara's fingerprint.
Inside the ring?
Inside the ring.
Okay.
Kind of cool. When we got them made, you could do this little kit and they send it off.
That's
you do your fingerprint and send it to them. And mine was in hers. In that one. And we just can't find it. We got our new one, and it's nice and great. And it's not that big a deal, but ultimately it's like, I just want to find it at some point. Hopefully
it's so tiny.
Maybe a crow will pick it up at some point and bring it to us. You ever heard that thing?
No. I've heard they look for shiny
crows
things.
Like shiny things. Yeah. And you can like build a relationship with them somehow. Tara was literally talking about this yesterday. Like we had a crow in our pasture, and she's like, "Ooh, I'm gonna give it something, so it'll bring me something." Like that's a thing. Crows will like bring things to people.
You barter with
because they're very intelligent.
Okay. Yeah. You guys take homesteading to the next level.
Oh yeah, man. We are super weird. We're weird people. We're talking animals.
Okay, I'll give you one more weird story about something lost, and then we'll jump into the parable for the day. We're those people who might have a bit of yard art. Now, we're not like crazy where there's no, like we do have a little gnome, but that's not the point. My wife loves little fairy doors. Like she'll put little fairy doors over all around the little bases of trees. It's really cool. We kind of live in the forest, so it has that vibe. Well, there's this big giant tree in my backyard, and you can't miss it when you pull up it because it sits like at an angle. It leans, has for I guess 50 years, 100 years.
Towards your house?
No, away from my house, but it's massive. I mean, it's a huge, like what's the one with the big yellow leaves in the fall? One of those. So it has the big yellow leaves in the fall. But anyway,
poplar?
No. I don't think so. Anyway, my wife got one of those little eyes, nose, and a mouth, like a little face and a beard. So it looks like an old man's face on the tree.
Well, like an ent.
I don't know.
Lord of the Rings. Sorry.
Oh,
see,
I got that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So the tree has a face.
Yeah.
And has for many years, except that it's also a popular avenue for the squirrels. And I'll see them around the face sometimes. Well, anyway,
like they like the face in particular.
Well, they just run up and down the tree, and they'll run across. And occasionally, I have to replace an eye. Like it falls off, I'll go put it back up. Well, the nose came off. This is the prominent feature of a old man face tree.
Sure.
Is the nose? It's like a big, and it fell at the base of the tree in the fall. Well, I thought this will be easy to. I mean, it's probably that big. It's like 3 inches.
What's it made out of?
I don't know. It's kind of heavy plastic.
Did you make
or something. No. You can find these things and
bought it.
You can find these things at
some sort of plastic big nose.
Yeah. Ace Hardware is probably where I got it with.
Hardware has
2-for-1 with the candle.
Big noses.
Anyway, the nose is gone. I lost it, and have not been able to find it.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, a noseless tree.
Well, it's still a face.
Yeah.
It just misses the nose, but the nose really is kind of makes it.
Sad.
Wedding rings, tree noses,
things we lose. You ever lost a child?
Holy cow. Dude, you just went really weird.
I'm just wondering. I got lost as a kid at Stone Mountain one time.
Okay. I thought
my parents obviously found me, but I disappeared from them. There's a whole story about it. But did you ever lose one of your kids?
Man, I don't think so.
Like for any period of time? Because I know, like as a parent, that would be.
Yeah, I would hope to remember that
That would freak me out.
Yeah. I don't think I lost a kid.
Again,
I mean, if I have, it's still missing.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So, I mean, that was early 90s, I guess, when I got lost at Stone. Think about Stone Mountain.
Yeah, that's a big place.
Like laser show, thousands of people. They could not find me for a little while. Had to track me down. Crazy.
Well, all of this lostness ties into the parables from Sunday. You did
what a segue.
A little trio of parables all about lost things.
Well, Jesus did it.
Jesus told some parables.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had the parable of the lost sheep. We're coming out of Luke 15. Lost sheep. So we've heard this story before. There's the 100 sheep. One goes away, and the man goes and finds this one sheep. He leaves the 99, as the scripture says. Leaves the 99 to go find the one. Brings it back, carrying it on his shoulders. Then we have the lost coin, and this lady has a coin, 10 coins.
10 coins.
She loses a coin, and she just goes crazy trying to find that coin. And she does find the coin, right?
And she rejoices.
But all the stories end in rejoicing, I think, is the point you were making too, Sunday. And then lastly, the best of all parables, right? Like the most fun, famous parable of the prodigal son. Or you had a different name for it. You called it what'd you call it?
The parable of the gracious father.
The gracious father.
Yeah, it's called the parable of the prodigal son. I think in most translations, or the lost son.
If you're following with that
lost
theme,
son, does yours say?
No, mine's going to say the prodigals and his brother.
And his brother, which is good. Because, anyway.
But it was the lost.
The gracious father, the shepherd, the woman, and the father are really the stars of the stories here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But all dealing with something that's lost and valuable. And they find it and they rejoice.
Yep.
So what's the point? The main point of all of these three parables?
Well, Jesus says it in the first two. There is more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than 99 righteous persons who do not need to repent. Says in the second one, there's more rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. And the third one, he doesn't give that statement, but he uses the father in the story to say twice, man, I had to rejoice. We had to celebrate, verse 32, into the parable, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So again, this celebration, this rejoicing towards any person who would come back to the father in that parable, or this lost thing that was found in the other two parables. So I think the point of really this parable, these parables kind of have 2 points. Because again, just to recap this Sunday a little bit, was I really think Jesus is talking mainly to the Pharisees as he gives these parables. He's eating with these tax collectors and sinners in the context. But Luke makes special mention right before the parable that these other guys are sitting around muttering. It's just a funny culture. Like, again,
that's very Jewish, by the way.
Yeah. And though I guess, I don't know if they're all in one house or housetop. Sometimes you'd go up on a rooftop and you could eat, and they'd even be like a little bit public, seem like some of these dinners that you could have, and people could kind of come and even watch dinner party. It was an interesting thing that they would do. Anyway, I don't know if that was the one particular situation, or if this was sort of a collective culture type thing that Luke was commenting on. This just happened a lot, or if it was one specific moment. But in any case, Jesus did this, and these guys, these Pharisees, these teachers of the law, they're just muttering. This guy eats with tax collectors and sinners and whatever. And so, Jesus tells the parable in that context. So, I mean, I really kind of picture him, especially when he gets to this older brother at the end of the prodigal son parable, just like looking at the Pharisees, like, oh yeah, there was this other brother, and he's just muttering and grumbling like you guys. That the father would throw a party for his lost son, which, look, we can all probably resonate with that a little bit, especially if we have siblings, that if our sibling was a stupid knucklehead and our parents just rejoiced over them just because they simply stopped being a knucklehead for a few minutes. And we might go, man, I've been good this whole time. And why didn't, anyway. And the father just makes that simple point. Like, what, why are you so mad that of course I would rejoice? Of course I would rejoice that the son who I considered dead, he was gone. I mean, he's dead in that sense. And now he's alive, and he was lost and he's found. The point just being so focused on, obviously, this parable being an illustration of the Father's love for us, God the Father, and his love for sinful people. Right. Desiring that, like Peter says, God doesn't desire anyone to be lost, but that all would come to repentance. That's what he wants. And so, of course, that's what these parables, I think, just simply and clearly illustrate. And to anyone who would have that sort of self-righteous, arrogant pride about them, which again we all can have, right? Towards other people, towards sinful, quote unquote, the way it puts it in here, sinful people, sinners, to just remember I need grace as much as the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth of it. And so if I ever get to a place in my life where I feel like I've earned grace, then I don't understand grace, and I don't understand God, and I don't understand Jesus, because I have not earned grace. Nobody has. That's why it's grace. And I think, again, that was just sort of part of the thing Jesus was trying to get into their minds to understand. You have not earned God's favor. He's good and gracious.
Right.
So,
well, so another take or potentially on this, and then I guess I can ask questions. Could it be too, since he's talking to the Pharisees here, or at least it seems to be that's the context? Could it be that the things that are found, so the one sheep that is found, the coin that is found, the brother that returns, could that be the Gentiles, or or lost Israel?
Yeah, I think it would be, sure, yeah.
And then you have like the 99 are essentially the Pharisees or the Israelites in that regard.
Yeah. That's where, again, when we read these parables, we don't have to over allegorize it in that sense. I think to go like, this is exactly this person or this group of people.
Yeah.
Even the Father clearly represents God. We know that.
Right.
But it's not a perfect one-to-one allegory. The Father's actually kind of dumb in the, like, culturally, they would see this as like, no wise father would actually give his son that inheritance at that time.
Yeah.
That's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah.
That's not the point, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
The point of the parable is simply his graciousness, his goodness, his love.
Yeah.
So to your point, though, yes, and no, in the sense that, no, we don't have to over allegorize it to make it mean it's either Gentiles or it's just
it's not one or the other.
I think in general we can just go, what's the simple point?
Yeah.
God loves simple people.
Right.
And so whether Gentile or Jew, because again, the Pharisees would certainly grumble about Jesus, and they did. Whatever it was, healing a person on the Sabbath or spending time with Gentiles and welcoming them into the kingdom, preaching about that, or even Jewish tax collectors who are sinful people. To them, they just categorized people in ways that, like, it seemed like they just thought of themselves better than the others. And I am welcome, but you're not so much. So,
which is a common theme, right?
Yeah.
For the Pharisees and Sadducees too. Like all these religious Jewish groups seem to think they were the ones. I mean, they were the chosen ones. So why would it change now? And so to then, I guess, for Jesus to be making this point, hey, there are others that are coming.
Yeah.
And we're going to rejoice every time, not just the Jewish people, but all the Gentile people like you and me. When we come to faith, it's like, good deal.
Yeah. And I think maybe they had, it seems as you read through the Gospels, like Matthew's and Luke's and Mark's, really highlight all of that with the Gentiles coming in, so to speak, where Jesus would preach about that. And he would reference Isaiah a lot. Isaiah is the most quoted Old Testament book. And Isaiah's prophecy letter of the book of Isaiah has very much to say about the nations, right? Like coming in, the nations. They should know this. They should be very clear on the fact that God desires the nations to come to him.
I wonder if they were thinking that's down the line.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Like that's at the end.
Yeah, like once he establishes the kingdom and we become these whatever, and then so.
Because it is pretty clear, like like, everyone will traverse the mountain, not just the Jewish people.
Yeah.
But it feels very it's all that's prophetic language in Isaiah, so it sounds like it's out in the future. Yeah, and they're not thinking the future is now.
Right. Isaiah 50, I believe it's Isaiah 56. The triumphal entry when Jesus comes in, like that whole kind of chronology of that story and the fig tree and all that.
Yeah.
Go read Isaiah 56 alongside that stuff, when just like this fruitless fig, this fruitless tree, and then he's referencing these like I'm bringing the nations to myself.
Right.
Basically because, and this is all throughout the scriptures, the prophets hit very much on this. My people don't listen to me. Like they're not seeing it. They're not bearing fruit like this tree. That tree is just such an illustration for the entire Holy Week, I think. Because it starts with that fig tree is like, no fruit, cursed,
Right.
It's like, man, my people won't listen. They won't come and listen. And the ones who are listening are the Gentiles, for the most, like they're drawing near, and the sinners and the tax collectors. Again, it's really the people. And this is really the only, I mentioned this on Sunday about we want to categorize people the way God doesn't do that. But there are categories that God does put people in, and I think the biggest, broadest categories you can kind of say would just be those who come and listen to Jesus and lean into him, and those who don't, right? And that's what we see here in the Gospels. It's like either you're just listening and you're coming to me, or you're not.
Right.
And so I don't care who you're from, where you're from, who you are, or whatever. If you come and listen, then you can enter the kingdom. It's like the Pharisees just wanted to plug their ears and not hear what he had to say.
Yeah, they thought they had it all. Thought they knew it all. Well, I love also the fact that the parables they can be so personal. Like we can read those things and see ourselves in the lost, that lost sheep.
Yeah.
And we can also then maybe now see ourselves in the 99. Like, okay, well, Jesus still has work to do. He's still going to get those who are lost.
Yeah,
and it's not, then I can see myself as I'm a Pharisee. You know, I can be a Pharisee, and I can be the one like asking questions, not knowing the answers to this stuff.
Yeah.
The prodigal son, of course, just is maybe one of the most brilliant pieces of literature ever written.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can see all those different, avenues. And I mean, it's metaphorical, but it's also allegorical, and it's also like real. And it's got a lot of pieces to it that you can tear apart for ages. Just this small little section of scripture. Right. You can tear it apart for ages and get something from it. It can be so personal.
Yeah.
And usually, and Sunday felt very much like that as you were ending the message. It felt extremely personal, right? It was like, you're one of these people, right? And even to the point where, you described the prodigal son in his squalor and his stench, and worse than this dead mouse smell, because he's wearing it, right? It's all over him.
Today. Yeah.
But the fact that the father runs, the father initiates, the father
embraces,
kisses, puts his best clothes on him, and it was, I loved it when you said the father doesn't say, "All right, now, you're back. Go get cleaned up."
Yeah.
Right.
Where's my money? Go take a bath.
Pay me back. It's none of that. It was like, I can't believe this is amazing.
Yeah.
You're back. You're my son.
It's a wild story to tell in that culture.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, and for us to hear it too. I mean, for us to hear, and you could put all kind of father things in there too, but anybody who could feel that kind of emotion in the story personally is great. But then you can also put this corporate part on it too, where it's like, okay, it is, the church. Maybe there are times where the church is the prodigal, or maybe all those different pieces you can look at.
Yeah.
And I just think it's fantastic. I feel like we could dig and dig and dig. But I have some other questions. Like back to this, the reason he's telling these parables, maybe even to begin with, these Pharisees who just aren't accepting. They're not tolerant. They're not. I mean, I want to be careful with some of the language here, and you can correct me at any point where you think, well, I mean, there's places to be intolerant and there's times to be whatever. But they just really wouldn't even give you the time of day. Like you couldn't even Jesus, like the Son of God, they were like, nah, let's kill him. And I'm getting to the point that I love what's happening in culture right now, as the global culture and even American culture. We've been talking for a long time about its decline and its moral decline, and the way in which it has become post-Christian to the point where, it's not even postmodern. It's just post-Christian. Like there are kids coming up who have no idea what the Bible is. Right. They live in a culture that is founded, and for 200 years, its laws and morality come from this.
Yeah, right.
And yet I'm holding up a Bible, and yet they don't even know what it is or how to read it or where it comes from. All right. So that was the story for a long time, at least from, I'm going to throw a time period on it, but like, so let's say the 1960s, the cultural revolution moment, to let's say the 2010s, even maybe up to COVID. There was this period of time where it felt like a decline. Well, there was a numerical decline. Certainly
the church being taken out of the center. Certainly that. Taken out of the center of our culture and kind of pushed to the side at best.
Right. And rarely talked about. Yeah. And if talked about, it became it felt very fundamental or right wing, or, it's just Christianity was almost used as like a slur. Yeah. Oh, you're a Christian? You believe all those things? Yeah. That means you don't believe all those other, like you don't accept, and you don't whatever.
You're not progressive. You don't believe science.
Right, all those things.
You're stuck up. Not free to do what. Yeah.
So here's where, like, I would encourage the church not to be pharisaical in this moment, where culture, the people who are sharing the gospel right now, Jacob, you're going to like this. The people who are sharing the gospel right now are people who are not even committed believers in Jesus. For instance, you have Joe Rogan, who has recently said he's now attending church regularly.
Yeah. Like, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he's like he had a quote recently where he was talking about evolution, Big Bang. He says, I feel like there's more evidence for the resurrection of Jesus than there is for the Big Bang. Like, he just,
and his voice,
millions
resonates
of people.
in our culture very much so. Yeah.
And so he's decided, or at least from the article I read, he interviewed Wesley Huff. We've talked a little bit about Wesley Huff, and they communicate. And Wesley said, "This guy's going to church. Like he's trying to figure it out."
Yeah.
I'll point to Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
Just this week, Jordan, there was it's called Surround. Have you seen this? Where you put like a Ben Shapiro or a Rogan or Charlie Kirk, you put them in the middle of these 25 college students, and then whatever the topic is. So this week was Jordan Peterson versus 25 atheists.
Ooh.
And so they all get to take turns. My point is, again, like, it's crazy the medium in which, and flagrant. I don't know if you know these guys, but Andrew Schultz, and it's more, did I get the name right? Andrew Schultz? More comedians that do podcasts. And Wesley Huff was on that podcast. And this thing's gone viral because these guys just pepper him with questions the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's just answering question after question after question. And some of the answers land and some of them are like, I don't know. And then this dude who's an Italian, like, comedian, whatever, he's checking out the Orthodox Church. Like he's trying to figure it out. And I guess what I'm saying is the beauty of who could have said 10 years ago, who would have said the leading evangelists in 2025 would be dudes on podcasts who are just asking questions about this thing.
Yeah. This is the woman at the well. Right? That's what this is. This is this woman who's just heard the good news of Christ and then just runs back into town and just like, hey, I probably doesn't have much theological understanding, other than he told me everything I ever did. That's what she does, It's sort of, I think it's a similar cultural moment maybe of just, all right. And then people are just going, oh, all right, well, I'll go listen to him. I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a little bit of what's happening. That you're right. I think that's an interesting shift anyway of at least where you see, it's like the gospel, God in his, because it's his gospel, right? And it advances and it moves and it's powerful and we know it's alive and active. Like he in his sovereignty will bring it back into, like, as much as culture wants to push it out, much as culture wants to push it to the side, it's like it can't go away.
Yeah.
It is the story. Like we know this.
Yeah.
The Prodigal Son is the story. And that's why it's such a relevant story, like you said, because everybody can read the Prodigal Son and see truth there and see beauty there and see love there and grace there and all these wonderful things and personal, like feel that, And so anyway, I think, that's just such an interesting phenomenon too. And again, just God and his sovereign will and grace being able to use even like a Joe Rogan who, that's amazing. He's going to church. I guess I don't know if he's become a Christian or if he's just kind of seeking that out.
I think he's just trying to figure it out.
But in any case, the Lord just using a platform that he has to go, okay, I'm going to start, putting things out here through this guy. And man, what an amazing reality that is. And so I think that's good wisdom too from you about, it's easy for us, I think, as Christians to go, no. Like if people are going to come to Jesus, it has to be through
Sunday morning
John
sermon
Piper and Matt Chandler and whoever else. It has to be through those guys. Yes, Sunday morning sermons. It can't be through these cultural people who might not even be Christians yet, but are just allowing the Lord allowing his word to be used on that platform to go out.
Right.
Because we can get real staunch about things like that, I think. But as long as it's the word of God that people are hearing and, again, just hit. The gospel works best when we let the gospel do the work. I don't know where I heard that, but I've heard that. That's a quote from somebody. But just letting the gospel work, letting the gospel do its work. And then it should, I think, encourage. It shouldn't make us as Christians sit back and go, grumble in the corner, Pharisees.
Right.
It should encourage us to go, oh, wow. Yeah, I want to be part of that too. I want to make sure I'm doing
Well, they're asking questions.
Yeah.
People are asking questions. Can I help provide answers if possible, or ask questions.
We should stand up and go, cool. Like, I'm here if you, love to share that with you. Love to open the scriptures with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're toying with some ideas for the podcast this summer, and I know you were just talking about right before we went on.
Yeah.
Went on air. Right before we went on air. We were kind of talking about. Yeah. No. And this brought to you by. Anyway. And so we might consider doing some things like that this summer. I don't know. We're looking at just doing something a little different this summer and see what happens. And, with the podcast, but. Anything you want to add for these parables? I mean, I kind of took us off the road there for a second. I just was excited about some of the stuff I'm seeing, and I really a call to the church too. Like, hey, get involved here. Like, and it's not a fight. Like, it's not a fight to win. It's a conversation to have.
Yeah,
it's going to if we're not Jesus, but we are a representation of Jesus. We're ambassadors of Jesus. So if there is a lost sheep, let's not ignore the lost sheep. If there's a coin that we've lost, let's not ignore the coin. And, if we have, someone that we know has run off, and again, I'm probably messing up these parables a little bit, but the point is that we don't get comfortable or that we don't just watch from the sideline.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy these podcasts and I could just sit and watch them.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Or I could be involved somehow.
Yeah.
With, hey, who's asking these questions? If it's on these podcasts and it's everywhere, and let's just figure out where are those places that people are having these conversations, and let's get in there and have the conversation with them.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be messy, like Rogan's not gonna share the gospel. He doesn't know the gospel yet. I mean, but if he points people to people that do know the gospel, then that's going to be a good thing. And church, we can do something to
I think so.
to be a part of that.
Yeah, you said it's not a fight against. Well, it's not a fight against our culture. It's not a fight against people. It's not a fight against atheists. It's not a fight against other religions. It's not a fight, whatever. It's really not. It's a fight for them.
Right.
That's what it is.
That's good.
And I think that's what we have to remember.
It's
a fight for the people around us who are even antagonistic, or like Jesus said, we love our enemies. Like, if they consider themselves our enemies, whatever, I don't know, but it's a fight. Like, we should be fighting for neighbors. We should be fighting for, of course, loved ones. We should be fighting for those in our culture and around our culture that don't know Jesus, and are far from him in whatever way, and who are probably asking questions right now, because, and that's the thing again, where we can get so kind of in the bubble, I guess, of Christianity and church world and all of that we are almost afraid to engage with those outside that bubble, or to engage in culture, or even sometimes it comes down to like another Christian person who has a different denomination than me, that I don't even want to talk to them or relate to them or whatever. But I think these parables, if anything, a couple practical things. One, get over yourself. I think that's this prodigal son one especially.
Right.
Older brother, Pharisees, let's get over ourselves. Things aren't always going to make perfect sense to you and line up with the way you think they should go, theologically even. And like you're saying, like if God can use a Joe Rogan, or God can use an Andrew Peterson, or Jordan Peterson, and in whatever ways he can use, he does. He uses amazing things in his sovereign will to draw people to himself. And of course, he's going to bring into his kingdom people that are unclean sinners, like you and me, by the way, is the point. And we should rejoice at that. We should so rejoice at that. And the last thing I think I'd say about, again, the prodigal son one in particular, is just our default when it comes to the gospel, and our default when it comes to the kingdom of God. We've talked a lot about the kingdom through the parables because a lot of them are about the kingdom. Our default should be to just fall upon the extraordinary grace of God. Like, we should just start there with our witness, with our relationships with other people. Again, judgmentalism, and we should be discerning, and there's lines we have to draw for sure about how we're going to live and what it means to be a Christian. Absolutely. Jesus draws those lines, and that's what we should do. Draw the lines that Jesus draws only. But we should always start with, man, just compassion and grace and open arms. We should start with Matthew, 23:22, where Jesus is telling that parable about, hey, go invite the guests in, and then they don't come. And then he's like, just go invite anybody. I don't care.
Right, yeah.
Go invite somebody and they'll come. You know, I think that's a great place to start. Just
invite.
Let the gospel be a shotgun to the world, and just go, I'm going to get as many as I can. He tells the parable, the net and the fish are coming in the net. Like, just cast a wide net and let people hear, and let our lives be lives of love and grace and compassion. And then, as we help people walk with Jesus, God's going to help us be discerning and help us whittle the things down and make sure we're living towards righteousness and holiness the way he calls us to. But man, our job as far as those who don't know Christ, like, there's one sin that we care about, and that is the sin of you don't believe in Jesus. That's the only sin I care about in your life. I care less what else you do. If you don't know Jesus, that's the sin I care about. And so I just want you to know him, and I'm going to tell you about him as best I can.
Yeah.
And be there with open arms, just like the father or the shepherd or whoever. That's not me, but that's Jesus, but I'm going to represent him. I think that's what the church should do. We should represent the heart of that father to a dying world, to a watching world, hopefully,
right,
and to a questioning world who are asking those. Hopefully some people asking questions too. So,
yeah. Well, we've all been recipients of that grace if we call ourselves believers. And that is,
right.
It is good news. And so we have good news. We should share that good news.
Yeah.
Right. Like if it's truly good,
lavishly share it.
Then we want everybody to know it. Yeah. And that's going to look different in different circumstances for different people.
Yeah.
For some, they can stand on the street corner with the sign. And be a John the Baptist. And for others, it's going to be maybe a year of relationship building and then they're like, okay, you heard this podcast? You listen to this thing?
And I think as a discerning Christian, you're probably going to have all of those opportunities.
Hopefully, yeah.
You know what I mean?
At different times.
Times when it's just like there's 20 people here that God just opens a door for me to just give a quick little gospel moment to just share it really quick with them. Or there's one person that's my cousin, and I've been loving them my entire life, and they don't know Jesus, and I'm going to spend the next 50 years of my life just pouring it into them as much as I can, and praying for them, and encouraging and loving them, whatever. There's going to be both of those.
Right.
And so just be discerning and look for every opportunity to love people like Jesus loved people and share the good news.
And when the prodigal does show up, right? Like when someone, that was the pit of despair, right? Like he was at rock bottom.
Yeah.
So when other people show up at rock bottom, they're going to be looking for the love of the Father.
Yeah.
That's why the prodigal comes home.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't go somewhere else.
Yeah.
When he hit rock bottom, he came to where he knew he would be loved.
He knew where to go.
And so he would be taken care of. He'd be loved. And he would be shown grace. Now, whether or not I don't know if he knew that fully. He knew he'd be loved, but he didn't know.
I don't think he expected that extravagant. But
Right. The lavishness, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think just the point I'm making is for many people, they hit those bumps in life and it's life, their own decisions potentially, or maybe just circumstances outside of their control.
Right.
But there comes a point where they're in a place where they know they need something that they can't do for themselves. Yeah. The prodigal son knew that. We all find ourselves in those places, in those moments.
Yeah.
Be like the Father, right? Yeah. Like when they come in, don't go, oh, they're sitting in my seat. Right. Or I'm not going to talk to that guy over there. He just blew it. Yeah. Right. And there's some crazy stories going on right now in the community. And I'm thinking, and how many of us are running to those moments to say, like this father, like running to the person who's said, man, this is a mess. I've got myself in a mess. Yeah. Run to it. Or do we go, man, let me talk about this. Let me tell you what happened to someone so.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, where do we want to be on that? Well, if I've been a prodigal son and I'm a recipient of that lavished grace, man, how much more do I want to show that? But how easy it is to be the older brother. Yeah, it's so easy to get content there and just go, man, I've got it, where everything's fine.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's something
we're good now.
We should check ourselves on every day as Christians. And like go back to a parable like this, just a lot of there's that, go back to the gospel stories a lot, and just check ourselves on that Pharisaical attitude. There was one, Jesus is so loving, so kind, so compassionate and gracious and welcoming to almost everybody. And I say almost because there was a group of people that he seemed to have beef with all the time. And who was it?
Those religious
It
folk.
was those Pharisees. It was those people that they were stuck up and prideful. and arrogant. And their religion, again, religion, not a bad thing, but their religion was all that they could see, and their box, I guess that's kind of how I would put it. Their box was all that they could kind of live in, and anything that was outside of that, just if it didn't make perfect sense to them in the way that they had structured their religiosity, then they just wrote it off. And that's what we have to check ourselves on every day as Christians. Again, yes, we're going to cling to the central core truths of the gospel. We're never going to deviate from that. I'm not saying that in any way, but what I am saying is we should be the kind of people that extend grace. That has to be our default. Grace and compassion have to be the default of Christian people. And then again, as we get to know people and all that, and we're helping people walk with Jesus in discipleship, which we should be doing, we will weed through the doctrines and theology and all the other things. We should do that stuff. We need to do that stuff. But we start with compassion and grace.
That's right. Yeah, that's the point of it, I think.
Yep.
We can talk about the other stuff later for fun, but and helps form us, sure. But yeah, whenever it gets away from the Father's love, His kindness that leads us to repentance, when it gets away from that, then we've probably got the wrong thing at number one.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, what's coming up this week? Are we done with the parables?
We are done with the parables. Okay. Yeah, the next, really over the summer, June and July, we're going to hear a lot of testimonies. Got a good one coming up this Sunday.
Testimony.
All summer long, we're going to hear some various testimonies from our Eastridge family members, and some kind of one-off sermons kind of mixed in there as well. Every couple of weeks, we'll have some sermons. So I think it's going to be a great summer, and we're going to be really encouraged and challenged. That's why I love testimonies. It's like Jesus telling stories here, right? So it's testimonies just reveal God's character, His grace in somebody else's life, and then we can hear it and go, oh man, I've experienced something similar, or maybe I haven't, and gosh, I love what God did in their life, and I'm encouraged by what I'm going through, whatever it may be. So we're going to get to hear a lot of cool stories over the summer. And like you said, we'll have conversation about what the podcast may look like, and maybe we get some stories shared on here too, and things like that. So anyway,
cool.
Be fun.
All right, man. Well, thanks for today. Thanks for this series on the parables. Come and listen. Come and hear. What was it?
Come and listen.
Come and listen.
Yeah.
And Jesus said it. You preached them. There we go. Is there a
there you
bumper
go.
sticker on that? Or that's it. All right.
Jesus said it. I just told it to you. I don't know. It's His words. Thanks, man.
See you next week. Or maybe not. I don't know.
See you. We'll see you.
See you soon. Bye.
Just keep talking until Jacob turns it off.